Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I got my co-host Brian here, and then one of my other business partners in foreign genetics and Squints Cannabis, Sean.
Hi.
And today we're going to talk about, in today's climate, depression is obviously a very big topic because people's mental health has been declining over the years, and we want to talk about what it's like to balance responsibilities and children and things of that nature when you're not feeling 100% yourself, I guess. This is the easiest way to put it.
A lot of people are just sweeping it under the rug right now and then doing
Yeah, not doing the work is a good way to end up in a bad, dark place, right? That's
Yeah.
from what I hear.
and then social media doesn't help.
Well, I also think that we're taught as a society to kind of hold things in and not speak on how we feel, especially as men,
100%.
you know. And I think that's what's sad and that's what's hurting. I mean, I don't know what the rates are, but I think men probably commit suicide more than
Women,
do,
yes.
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure.
It is higher.
Women have pressure of being, let's just say like my wife Sylvia, she's a mom, a mother of 6 and takes care of those kids every day, and she's probably,
It's a lot.
she's probably depressed in her own ways, but has no chance or choice but to keep going, right? Whereas the man has to keep supporting myself, I have to keep supporting my family and deal with the pressures of businesses and failing businesses and partnerships and trying to be a father and trying to be a happy person within myself, and it's just a lot of pressure. And so, I deal with depression. I've been dealing with depression probably for the past 15 years. I probably dealt with it longer, but it didn't come out till traumatic situations. You know what I mean? I think trauma, brings out what's already inside of us. And yeah,
It's a lot.
It is a lot, and I'm very thankful to thank you guys for having me on here, and I'm very thankful to be who the person I am because I'm very open about it. And I've always been told don't speak on these things. You shouldn't talk to people about how you feel or open up.
It's weak.
You don't want people to know who you really are, but
We view it as
I
weak.
can't do that because I feel like, what about if you're going through something and you just don't have no one to talk to, and you see me, big dude, and in your mind I might have my whole life together, whatnot, and I'm like, bro, I'm dealing with depression right now, and it might make you feel a certain way, like, oh, maybe I can talk to him, and I'm very big on that, and
That's a blessing.
I'm not gonna keep my mouth shut. Like I can't. I feel like people need to
Express themselves.
express themselves, and I think people need to really hear what people are going through because we all go through shit. We're all equal. I don't care how much money you have. You still wake up and eat shit and sleep. We all do the same, and so it's huge, man, and it's very unfortunate that we look especially as men, we're weak because we cry or we're going through shit, and I'm
Well,
not
they
down
say
with
only
that.
only women and children are loved unconditionally. Men aren't, right? Men are loved when they can provide. Men are loved when
I think that's within men. I think that's within a man, like a man, like
well, that's the
homie to
world.
homie
That's the world
situation.
view of it,
Yeah, but I don't think like my kids or Sylvia look at me like they only love me when I come through. But I do know like
No, the public view of people is
Yeah.
that men aren't loved unconditionally.
no.
If you're not working, or it could be that your physical space in your head isn't right at the moment, and so things aren't going your way. But it's looked at as like, oh, he's a lazy fucker, or he needs to get up and figure something out, or he needs to tighten his belt and work through it.
I mean, I feel like a lot of my setbacks in life, and they're not setbacks, they're actually learning lessons, are because of my childhood. I didn't have support, and so when you don't have support, you kind of have to figure out what to do in life, and those things have carried over to my adulthood, and I started seeking therapy probably in my early 20s when I first started making some money, and I've been just seeing my therapist for damn near 13 years off and on.
Do you feel like it helps?
I feel like it does help. I feel like it's like sharpening tools. You have tools that are locked away that you need to pull out and sharpen them, right? And also, I can speak for myself. There's tools that my parents didn't have that they just weren't capable of giving me those tools. So here
We come
comes
from
this,
an emotionally lacking generation, right?
I don't
Especially
know
in
if
the
it's-
home as a child.
I don't know if it's not. Yeah, maybe it is generation. I mean, look, dude, my mom was adopted. So I think within herself, I feel like my mom never thought she was good enough. And I think that I inherited those feelings from her because, like, there's this thing called epigenetics where it's like, you know, if my mom's mom was pregnant with her, she went through trauma, that trauma goes into the baby, and then it just carries over. So I think that I inherited that trauma from my mom of like, you know, whatever her mom's situation was, gave her up for adoption, and she went to a family and, you know, wasn't really treated the best. And then my dad, he comes from Europe, you know, he's one of 10 and they had no money and he's the black sheep of the family and he's like, you know, he's still trying to figure himself out. Where I'm like, I don't want to be like nothing like my parents, you know, but in a lot of ways I'm very similar to them, you know.
Yeah,
So,
we carry the, as much as we want to say that we want to be different, I as well, that we carry some of the same characteristics and mannerisms and things that are
yeah,
obviously genetic.
you know, I've always been told you're just like your dad. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm not like my dad, but I'm like my dad in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, I'm not. My dad's selfish. I'm not. I'm very loving and very giving and very caring. You know, my mom, it was always like, I love you, son. But it was never like, good job, son. You're smart. You can do whatever you want. So it's like, how do you find that as a person?
Well, you seek for it. That's what we're all seeking for,
But this
really.
is the thing, right? Like, and I've learned this with my kids, dude, is we're not born confident. You don't wake up, you know, born baby and you're like, you know, you're strong in this. And that starts in the home. And that's why I always tell people, like, my only advice that I can give you as a parent is like, tell your kid that he's smart. Tell him that she's beautiful. Tell them they can become anything in the world because that'll build them up, you know? Because you as a parent, they look at you as everything. So keep going with that, bro. You know, it's unfortunate that it didn't happen for me, and I'm still working on it within myself. And I might not ever feel the way you might feel or you might feel. And it is what it is. I'm okay with that. You know, my therapist always told me, what you see in the mirror is not what other people see. But it's very hard to believe if you only know shit your whole life, right? It's hard. So.
But you've at least admitted it and are doing something about it. Where a lot of people just stuff it and then, you know, they just go down that dark hole and just stay in that dark hole.
I mean, this year was a really dark hole for me. You know, financially, you know, financials, you know, people say I'm depressed. You know, yeah, you can be depressed because of your financial situation or your relationship with your girlfriend, whatever. This year is just financially a hard year for me, but then it like caused stress that like literally just boom, opened up and it blew up in my face to the point where like I was feeling a bit suicidal. Not that like I wanted to kill myself, but I could start feeling the feeling of I understand why.
I'm tired.
It's the pressure of like, man, nothing's working out within myself. I can't control everything out around me, but I can control myself, but I couldn't even control myself. I was eating like a fucking nutcase. I was, you know, spending money, not spending money, not knowing where my money was, just being reckless. And I couldn't figure out why until I figured out from the microdosing that my depression was just really bad. And I was trying to stick with the microdosing, obviously, but what I got from the microdosing was like, there's a bigger problem that I need to work on. And so I decided to get on antidepressants, and from there, I feel like a fucking new man.
So you feel like they're helping right now with this new?
Yeah, 100% they are. I mean,
you're on Wellbutrin, you said?
I'm on Wellbutrin XL, and
you feel like
I got on a diet within like a month of taking the medication. I've lost 30 pounds in a month. You know, I feel like a new person. The lights were on, but no one was home.
You seem a lot lighter.
Yeah, and I feel a lot better, dude. But again, like I can feel it coming back though. Mm-hmm. You know, so I got to talk to psychiatrists because I'm scared of that. I don't want to go back to that world, and it's a constant battle. And so I don't think yes, the medication helps, but there's still a lot of work that I need to do within myself, and I don't know what that is because it's hard to be happy for myself, bro. I have a beautiful family. I have great partners. I have great businesses, but I still wake up just what it is. So it's hard, but you know, I keep fighting. So we just gotta keep working hard and
Well, just know that you have a lot of love around you.
No, I know
and
that,
that
bro.
people do care and respect you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And the same for everyone else. It's just, it's hard, dude. It's hard waking up every morning and just kind of being numb to everything. And that's the truth. It's like, someone asked me, when was the last time you were happy in life? And I said, man, I think I was like, honestly, like maybe 10 years old. And then after that, just shit changed.
What was that feeling at 10 that like, what do you relate that happiness to?
Well, it's my mom and I were living, my mom raised me, so we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. And prior to that, we had a roommate, and then we separated from the roommate, lived on our own. So that means my mom had to work more. So she started working at night. So working at night meant I was by myself. So now I'm 9 years old, by myself every night. And my dad, he didn't really care to be around as much as he says he did. He just didn't. And so I started taking care of myself at 9 years old. Now, I had no one ever comfort me of like, hey, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. I was always scared.
Yeah.
So what does that create? Anxiety.
Anxiety.
So I got anxiety as I got older and didn't know where it came from. But then as I went to therapy, I started understanding it's because of the fears and you know, being scared as a young child. Like, it's mind-boggling to where I was as a kid, and I think about my kids, and I'm like, fuck, they would never survive in the situation I was in. You know what I mean? Like, I fed myself, I washed my own clothes. I didn't do my homework ever because no one was there to like tell me what to do. And then it put a relationship between my mom and I where she was like, you need to do this, and I'm like, go fuck yourself, because I became independent.
Yeah.
You know, right? You can relate. It's like I became independent so young. But that's carried over to my adulthood of like, I dropped out of high school. I started fucking selling weed at 21, and I was really good at it. Then I started growing weed, and I've never looked back. But all I know how to do is just keep surviving.
Yeah. And
it's hard because I am lacking tools. I'm not great with accounting. I'm not great with managing at times. But I know I'm good at growing weed, and I know that I'm good with people, right? So I just have my faith, and I just know that like no matter what, I just have to keep my head straight and keep moving forward.
Deep breath.
Sorry, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
What are your guys' thoughts on depression? Like, you know what I mean? Everyone hears it, but what do you really think about it?
My biggest thing is most people don't want to accept it, and they're like, I'm not depressed, and they don't want to openly admit it like you are right now. I've been there plenty of times dealing with bullshit, and you don't want to wake up, you don't want to do a lot of things, and that's where people need to be more open about it and stop believing everything they see on social media like that is life. That's not fucking life. That's all staged.
I really feel though like there still needs to be more talk about like the real symptoms of depression. I think people just think it's just the word.
Yeah.
But
no, it's a feeling.
Yeah. And like, you know, my depression fucking 6 years ago was I had no energy. I literally would go to work and I would just go home and sleep, right? This depression this year, I had the energy, taking my kids to school, going to the gym, but nothing was working out.
Nothing felt satisfying.
No, it was just like...
Do you feel like if you had more in what you view as triumphs or successes that you would have felt differently about it? Are you equating it all to that, or is it more just the numbness?
You know, I try to think, you know, if I had more money... Is it
result-based?
I don't know. It's like, if I had more money, would I feel like this? But I've had money. I've lost money. I've been up and down. So... No,
it's not that.
It's not.
It's obviously
bro.
Something that's
it's
from within
myself.
us. Yeah.
So it's like the best way I can say is like no matter where you go, it's this feeling that I carry within myself of just this emptiness, like being numb. You know, I was asked when my son was born earlier this year, "Aren't you happy your son was here?" And I just looked at him and I was just like, "It's cool," and that's sad.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Because a human being got brought into this world where people can't have children.
Should be our joyous moment.
It really should.
Yeah.
And now,
and that's not because you don't care for him.
No, but now where I'm in a better place, I love my son. I love holding him. I love changing his diaper. I love waking up with him. You know, so that just shows you like where my mental state was. You know, I don't know if I'm gonna stay on medication for the rest of my life. Maybe I will, maybe I won't.
Yeah.
But I do tell you this, I think that diet plays a huge part in people's mental state.
100%.
And I think if people focus more on their diet, that'll kind of start the beginning of that conversation of where to go.
Certain things don't
You
agree
know?
with certain people, and not
Yeah.
everything is for everybody.
I'll give you an example. I ate some chocolate a week ago. The next day I woke up, I felt like floored to the ground. I didn't want to do shit. So I'm like, no more chocolate, Sean.
Yeah, you're obviously
You know,
having a
you
reaction
have to check
too.
yourself. That's the thing. It's work. If you want this to conquer you, it will. But if you don't and you want to fight it, you got to put in the work. It's constant. It's a battle. That's what depression's a real fucking battle. You know,
Yeah.
homeboy from Power Rangers, I read that he, you know, obviously committed suicide, but he was very open about his depression.
Yeah,
But look where it got him.
yeah, it's
You
still ended
know?
the same result. My mother obviously is a undiagnosed alcoholic. I mean, she still drinks, so she doesn't see that that's been a problem for her. She obviously has experienced heavy trauma in her life, but I grew up around somebody that was like manic depressive and a roller coaster of up and down bipolar feelings, you know? I mean, she won't want you to hear that or say that, but that's the truth. And
My mom's
she's
the
not
same way.
accepting of it, obviously, because she's never sought help, even though she's needed it or been suicidal.
Why do you think she won't admit it?
I don't know. I think it's easier for her to just dwell in those moments. And she's like, because of the alcoholism, she's blackout with it. So it's a switch, bro. And it goes completely one way. And then she wakes up the next day like all that shit didn't just happen. You know what I'm saying? And it's very challenging because not accepting the fact that you're not okay. You know what I mean? And going on these you know, alcohol is a depressant as well. So if you
Yeah.
have depression issues and yeah, it feels good for this way up the roller coaster, but then it's lights out and she's all over the place, you know? And it's been very frustrating for me. It's also made me very angry. So you asked about my understanding of depression, and obviously I have preconceived notions of it from dealing with somebody that's like manic depressive in an up and down roller coaster. So I have like a chip on my shoulder about it because, you know, at least you're seeking help. But in some sense, it's like, yo, bro, it's obvious something is wrong, but they're just unreceptive to change, right?
But I also feel like some people just, I don't know, I guess they're okay with their situation, right?
Well, it's sad because she terrorizes the people around her.
Well, yeah, because
She
everyone
wants
has
to
deal
bring
with
them
their
into
shit.
her misery, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
she
they-
terrorized her children. You know, her husband committed suicide in front of her. It was a very tragic event. The kids were there, my younger brothers and
I
sisters.
mean, that's a very
And they all
traumatic
went through
situation.
that, you know, and then her spiral after that of whatever, you know, he did it in a very vindictive, evil way. So she dealt with that, and it caused her to do and act out and do strange things. And obviously, I wasn't present because I was an adult, but they were there and had to live through it, you know. So I have a different view on
Did
it.
they go to therapy after?
I'm not sure how much therapy they've been in or not, but it's definitely had a long-lasting effect. And to me, it's like the lack of respect for her for causing that for children and not being accepting of the fact that, yo, bro, you got to choose how you handled this situation. And it's like, you know, you've put them into that position basically because they didn't choose to be here. We brought them here.
So this is my thought on that, like, my opinion, but I just feel like maybe she's in such a dark place that her reality is not your guys'. It's, you know what I mean?
Of course
Like-
it's not,
like
100%.
She doesn't look at it like that.
Yeah.
And she's probably so hurt inside and so broken
Yeah.
that she can't realize what she's done, right? I don't know. It's hard. Like,
I mean, let her tell it. She's lived for her children, and it's all been about them and this and that.
in her
And I-
mind.
In her mind, yeah, and she fully, wholeheartedly
you
believes
guys,
that, you know.
yeah.
And I mean, she's a great caretaker and has, you know, done her best to put them in a position to succeed. But obviously, living through some of her trauma, have an outside opinion on that, right?
Yeah.
But that, like you said, we're all living separate realities. So
I mean, I've asked my mom to go see a therapist for years. I
yeah,
think you need a therapist. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I've made peace with that.
my mom's in the same boat. She's
You know,
made peace with
My
being
mom,
who she is.
my mom was going through menopause when I was a teenager, so she beat the shit. I mean, she tried to beat the shit out of me. You know, I was already like 250 pounds at like 16, 17 years old,
Yeah.
lifting weights. So she would slap me over and over and over again, and I would just look at her like, but she was just taking out her frustrations on me because her life was hard.
Yeah.
You know, and she apologized to me when I was like 25. We were driving from San Antonio to Houston, and she's like, you know, I was going through a lot, and you know, I got raped at 19, and that always, you know, made me feel a certain way, and so I feel really bad for my mom. Like, I really, truly feel bad for her as a person because it's like she got robbed of her life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe your mom got robbed out of her life, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that might be.
And that's the unfortunate thing. You know what I mean? It's
Sometimes it takes a outside view
yeah, and
to
and
realize that. You know?
it's sad. Like, I told my mom, like, it's all good. Like, I understand. Like, look, I don't agree with it to a certain point, but it is what it is. But I truly feel bad for my mom. Like, I honestly really do, because it's sad. Like, I know, you know, raising a boy by herself in LA where it's expensive as fuck. She, you know, struggled her whole career. She had no money to do anything for herself. She had no friends, no babysitter. She had no life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sad, man.
It's tough.
You
It's
know?
tough not having a purpose and not having a clear cut, you know, answer for things.
No, but you know, I'm very thankful now at her at 66 years old, found love again after my dad, and is married, and you know, she's living her great, you know, her best life. They bought a home. You know, we lived in a one-bedroom apartment my whole life.
That's a
So
big
for
deal.
her to have her own house and it's paid off,
Yeah.
she had the same car for 30 years to now they have like 5 Corvettes.
Yeah.
You know, like, great.
Things
Yeah.
worked
I'm
out.
happy for her, but
Yeah.
I know, and she's still hurt because
Yeah.
I see the way she is when she's with me. Like, I can't be around my mom longer than 20 minutes because she irritates me. She like triggers me,
Mm-hmm.
so I have to stay away.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat.
So-
We don't have the best relationship of
Yeah,
like open communication.
and it sucks because I'm just like, man, just open your eyes. But I don't know what it is. It's not pride. It's just like, can't do it. Can't do it.
Is there anything you want to share with people watching, or any tips you can give on what helps you find your center and get back to home?
I think that if you're really going through some things, you need to find someone to talk to, whether it's a friend or a therapist, but there's always someone to talk to, right?
And being open and vocal.
You
is
got to
a-
be open. You have got to be 100% open with yourself. And it's okay. Who cares if people judge you? Fuck those people then. They're not supposed to be in your life. But be 100% open. Put everything out on the table because you're going to fix the situation and you're going to become a better person. Not that you're going to be fixed 100%, but you're going to be able to live your life a lot better. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I feel like humans respond better to weakness than we give them credit for. So when we do decide to be vulnerable and open up, we usually get a reception that we weren't expecting, because we tend to be like closed off and want to hide our feelings.
Well, it's also the same thing. Like if you're in a bad mood and I just smile at you, eventually you're kind of forced to smile or laugh,
Yeah.
right?
One or the other.
That's what it comes down to. It's like you know, and I just look at it as like, man, I think the whole world is fucking depressed.
We are definitely
And
on the wrong course, I feel
And I
like.
think, like I said, back to food, man. People be aware of what you're eating,
Be aware of what you're eating, what you're intaking, what you're
Yeah.
thinking, what you're listening to.
what you're watching.
You're
Like, everything
vibrating at
affects your
a
energy.
frequency that is
Yeah,
not
like-
healthy and not pure.
Yeah, like I was following some shit on Instagram. I'm like, why do I don't want to see this?
Yeah, it's a
This
slippery
hurts
slope.
me to see someone
Yeah.
die on some stupid shit. You know, like it hurts. I feel it in my
Yeah.
soul. So, you
We're
know,
all
protect
connected.
yourself, protect your energy. You know, if you got to stay away from people that hurt you, then that's what you got to do. Doesn't mean you don't love them, but you got to protect yourself.
You got to draw that line in the sand.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you for your time,
Thank you,
and we
guys.
thank you for being very
Thank you for
open.
Sorry for shedding a tear, but
No,
No,
that's
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 part of
what this
life.
was for. This was a real episode,
Yeah.
where a real person was really expressing
Yes.
himself,
I'm a real
and that's
person.
what this is about, you know.
No, but you weren't hiding your emotions.
No, I'm a real boy.
All right, Pinocchio.
Calm down, Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody out there watching. Like and
Thank you.
subscribe. And if you're feeling like you need some help, you know, reach out to somebody. There's plenty of hotlines.
Reach out to these guys.
people and friends. And yeah, bro,
Call us.
You got my social handles, and
Yeah, reach out to
I
him.
answer
You can
everybody,
reach out
bro.
to me through him.
And you can find Sean through
Cadillac Sean.
at
man.
Cadillac Sean on Instagram. And you know, if you need a friend or you need somebody to talk to, or you're not feeling right, then you know, shoot us a message.
Yeah,
we're
I'm
gonna respond
down to talk.
100%.
and try to motivate you to be in the right space. That's what life's really about, is helping each other along down the road. So,
That's how it should be.
yep.